guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Amia, and today is going to be a rather interesting story time about how I told my super religious family I was pregnant at 18. And I know this video is a little late, but just reliving this whole thing is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of nerve-wracking, so I'm just going to get right into it. So first things first, I'm going to give you a little backstory about my family. Excuse me. My dad is a pastor. I believe he's been a pastor since he was around 23 years old, and my mom has been a first lady, which is like the woman of the church, since pretty much my whole life. I've grown up doing nothing but being in the church, and being known as a pastor kid have so much pressure on you to be like perfect or to not make mistakes and not sin and all that good stuff. So it's like a lot of pressure firsthand from being a pastor's kid in general. And on top of that, my grandma was super religious. On both sides, my grandparents were super religious. They love God more than anything, and they've always taught me to love God more than anything. So you can understand like how much, I wouldn't say pressure, but how much God was kind of like put into my life and showed me how important God was to my family and all that. So that is pretty much a little backstory about my family. We are super religious. So when I found out I was pregnant, telling them was the part that like feared me the most, because I was so terrified, so terrified. And on top of that, my siblings, I'm also going to tell how I told my siblings in this, and me and my siblings are extremely close, and we've never had anything like hinder our relationship, I guess you could say. Like, we've always been close. Something so big changes relationships, and you don't know if it's going to be for the better or for the worse. So I was extremely scared, but I'm going to go in order that I told everyone. So first things first, I found out I was pregnant, I think on a Saturday or a Friday, and my mom picked me up from my friend's house, and I still haven't told her. I didn't tell her at this time. I went through the whole weekend. I stayed in my room. I didn't talk much, and that's really unlike me because I'm very talkative when it comes to my family. So I didn't talk much, stayed in my room, and Monday rolls around, and I go into my mom's room, and I remember like walking up to her door and then walking back, and like I was shaking. I felt really sick to my stomach. First of all, I think it was because morning sickness, but also I was extremely anxious. I've never talked to my mom about something like this before, and it was really nerve-wracking, and just thinking about it right now kind of gives me anxiety because I knew how scared I was at that moment. And I didn't, like, the last thing I wanted to do is let her down or disappoint her, or I would never want to change our relationship. So that was kind of freaking me out. So I kept on walking to her door, and then kind of like stopping and like thinking, oh my gosh, do I really want to do this? And so I'm like sitting there for like 5 minutes on end maybe at her door, and just like watching her sleep, and I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to tell her. And I was like, I have to tell her because this is eating at me. And it was only been 2 or 3 days that I didn't tell her. So I was like, I cannot go any longer. I feel sick all the time. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells around her. So I just opened up the door and walked in, and I woke her up, and I was like, Mom. And I showed her the picture, and she was like, whose is this? And I was like, it's mine. She was like, she got quiet for a minute, and I was just standing there, and I started crying, and I was bawling. And she was like, okay, go get ready for school. We'll talk about this later. And that's not really what I wanted to hear, because first of all, I knew that throughout the whole school day I was going to be anxious, and my stomach was going to be hurting. I was going to be on edge. I already knew that was going to be like my whole mood during the school year. During the school day. And it was. The first thing I did when I went to school is I went to my counselor, and I just like pretty much told her, I was like, listen, I'm pregnant. I need all your help. I need as much help as I can get, making sure I will graduate, and making sure that when it does come closer to my due date and I need to probably stay home, that we can make like an arrangement for me to do school online up until I have my baby. And at the time, the pandemic was obviously not even thought about. And so she's like, yes, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You're going to talk to the school nurse. We're going to help you through all this. We're going to make sure that you graduate. We're going to make sure you get everything that you need to do in order to succeed. I was talking to my mom. She's like, okay, you need to tell your sister so she can help you go to your appointments and everything. At the time, I didn't have my license, and so I didn't know how to tell my sister, so I kind of just put the pamphlet. She was in the bathroom. I kind of just put the pamphlet on the sink and like waited for her her reaction. And she's like, what is this? And I was like, don't say anything mean or something like that. I'm gonna cry. I was really hormonal by this time. So I just started crying again, and I was like, don't say anything, don't be mean. And I just started crying. She's like, it's okay, Amia. She was like, does mom know? And I was like, yes, mom knows. And then she was asking, does anyone else know? And I was like, no, you, mom, are the only people who know right now. And she's like, okay. She was like, it's gonna be okay. She was like, just calm down. And that was like the first person who actually like helped me calm down, because at first my mom had me scared because she didn't talk to me. It's not that she didn't talk to me. She wanted me to get ready for school, and we'll talk about when we get home. So that part was kind of making me anxious, and I didn't know if she was disappointed at me. I didn't know if she... So the fact that my sister actually like sat down and she was like, it's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. We're going to get through this. That really helped me, and I'm still so blessed that I even have such a supportive sister. And so, yes, that's how I told my sister. And on to, I think the next person I told was my dad. So that day we went to Bible study, and my mom was like, did you tell your dad yet? And I was like, no, I'll tell him when I get to Bible study. So my mom was like, okay, you guys go ahead to go to Bible study. And it was me and my sister in the car, and my sister went in. She went in earlier than me, and I stayed in the car so I could call my dad. And I remember, once again, dialing his number, staring at the number, not knowing what to do, because my dad was the main person that I was terrified of, because he is a pastor. And I just knew like I was going to get a lecture, or I knew that he was going to tell me like, obviously it's a sin, and all the other things and stuff like that. Or I don't know, I was just expecting the worst out of him, and I don't know why, but growing up in such a religious family, other people who have grown up in such a religious family, or being a pastor kid, like, you understand like when you do something, it reflects it onto your dad, who is a pastor. And I was terrified that I was going to be reflecting the family in the wrong way, or I was going to be disappointing the family and stuff like that. So I was like, I don't want like my dad's character to be judged by my actions. And although I shouldn't have thought about it like that, I still was. There was so many things running through my mind. Like, I was going through so many emotions because I was freaking out. So I was just expecting the worst out of him, and come to find out, I called him, and he picked up the phone, and I told him, I said, Dad, I took a pregnancy test on Saturday, and I was like, it came back positive. And he got quiet for a minute, and I was just waiting for screaming or a lecture or something. But he took a deep breath, and I could tell that he was starting to cry, or his voice was shaking, and that really broke my heart, and I just started to bawl. Once again, I started crying so hard, and I was like, Dad, I was like, are you there? And he was like, yes. He was like, this is what we're going to do. He's like, you're going to be fine. Stop crying. Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry just thinking about it. He was like, you'll be fine. Stop crying. It's all going to be okay. And he really just helped me. And so I always called my dad whenever I was freaking out about anything. I called my dad just to sit and talk to him at lunch, because I had no one else to sit with. Like, my dad was my rock, and he still is my rock, but at the time I didn't know, like, he was the one person who could really sit and calm me down, and I didn't know if that was going to be the case this time. So I was freaking out, and I was crying, and sure enough, he calmed me down. He told me everything's going to be okay. He told me I'm not a disappointment, and he said it's going to be hard to graduate, but he said it's not going to be impossible, and he has faith in me. I'm going to cry. He has faith in me, and pretty much he just said everything that I needed him to say at that moment. Nothing that he said was wrong or hurt me in any way. It was exactly what I needed to hear in that moment, and I'm really, really grateful. Also, you're gonna hear me say that a lot, for my dad. Okay, sorry, I told another sister before I told my dad, my oldest sister, Jayla. Now, she was also someone that I was really, really nervous about telling, because of the simple fact that she already had a baby, and she knows how hard it is, and she knows like how crazy it can be with your hormones and stuff. She was the only other person besides me who would have been pregnant. So I'm on FaceTime with her and my sister. I need to tell you guys the names, because it's all over the place. So I told Maisha, and Mona was the next sister I was going to tell on FaceTime. So I kind of gestured to her that I was pregnant, like, you know how you hold your belly, and she was like, no. Her reaction was more like worried for me, because she knew how hard it is, and she knew how difficult it could be, especially in school, and she knows how difficult school can be, because she had a really tough time in high school. So she just put all those things together, and she was like scared for me more than anything. I kind of seen it in her face, and that conversation was short-lived, just because she was doing other things, and I had to go to Bible study, so we didn't get a chance to really talk in depth about me being pregnant that day. So it was a short phone call, but that's how I told my oldest sister. and move on to when I told my sister in the and now fast forward when I told my sister outside. So I was sitting out there and I was kind of contemplating, like, how do I tell her? What do I say? Like, what do I do? I wasn't so much nervous with telling Maya, because she's more like the relaxed one and I can trust her, and I feel like I'm comfortable around her to tell anything. Like, she's a sister I tell almost anything to, and it's not that I don't trust my other sisters, it's just I feel more comfortable telling her everything and telling her anything that I have on my mind or any problems I may have with other people and stuff like that. So I go and I tell her, and the way I told her is I just like put the picture up, and she's like, "Is that yours?" And I was like, "Yes, it's mine." She smiled, and I was like, "That's not what I was expecting." Like, most of the time, like, yeah, gosh, like, how this happened, so and so. So when she smiled, like, I was like, okay, now this makes me feel good. I was like, why do I feel so good? Although I know, like, I should have waited or the timing's not right. But when she smiled, it gave me like a peace of mind, and it really made me feel okay, and it made me feel like this is gonna be okay, everything's gonna be okay. So her reaction was extremely, extremely sweet as well, and like I said, I'm so blessed to have her, and I'm so blessed to have such a supportive sister. And the next person was my brother. He's actually in the Army, and at this time he was in the Army for maybe 4 or 5 years by now. And my brother is my only brother, so just imagine how protective he is over us. And I just knew that this was going to be a conversation. I didn't know if he was going to hate me. Excuse me, I didn't know if he was going to hate me. I didn't know if he was going to get super mad at me. And the only way I could tell him was either FaceTime or phone call. And at this time, he wasn't in our time zone, and I couldn't stay up because I had school. So I sent him a long text and at night, right before I went to bed, because that's when he was going to be up. So I just sent him a text, and I was like, I don't know if I have the message. I might put it up, but I was like, hey, Marte, I have to tell you something. And I was like, I hope you don't get mad at me. I hope you don't hate me, but I'm pregnant. And I don't remember what else I did say in the text message, but I was like, please, I remember saying, like, please don't hate me, because I felt like he was going to be so mad at me for getting pregnant. I feel like he was going to be so disappointed in me, and that was the most thing that I was the most scared of. And I just remember waking up the next day not wanting to check my phone because I didn't want to see what text message he had on there. He's the type of brother who's, like, extremely blunt and extremely straight to the point. Like, he doesn't sugarcoat things. So I knew whatever he was going to say was kind of going to be, like, the truth, but it was going to hurt my feelings at the same time. So I was like, gosh, I don't even want to read what he has to say. I'm too emotional right now. I have too much stuff going on. But lo and behold, he actually was just like, I don't hate you. I could never hate you. He was like, I am a little disappointed that you didn't wait, and I'm a little disappointed that you didn't practice it safely. But he was like, I could never hate you, and don't ever think I will ever hate you. One more person to tell, and that was my little sister. And she looked up to me a lot, and that kind of freaked me out, because as a big sister, you don't ask to be looked up to. Oh, I'm about to cry. As a big sister, you don't have oh my gosh, why am I getting so teary-eyed? As a sister, you don't really have a choice to be like someone's role model. You can't choose not to be someone's role model. It just kind of happens. And as a big sister, obviously your little sister's going to look up to you. She's going to want to be you. She's going to want to do things like you. And I didn't notice that or realize that until I got pregnant. I was like, what is she going to think of me? And she was like, I'm supposed to be her role model. I'm supposed to be the person she looks up to. I'm supposed to be the person that she wants to follow in their footsteps. And I was just freaking out. And I was just like, I'm not going to tell her right now. And I was just set on not telling her and set on waiting. I didn't even know when I was planning on telling her. I just knew that I was not going to tell her right now, because I really could not, like, bear to see, like, her disappointed in me, or bear to see, like, the way that she would probably react. And so I was like, gosh, like, my little sister of all people, I was probably the most scared. I know I said my mom, my dad, but now that I think about it, it was my little sister, because I felt like I had so much more to lose with her. Like, I didn't want to lose her respect. I didn't want to lose how she looked at me. I didn't want to lose, like, any of that. And I didn't want her to think that I was not a good big sister, because I didn't, oh my gosh, because I didn't lead her in the right direction. But my mom ended up being the one to tell her, because my mom was talking about morning sickness or something with my sister in the car. And my sister's like, morning sickness? And she's like, yes, your sister's pregnant. So although my mom did not, although I didn't tell my sister myself, my mom told her. And I think I kind of preferred it that way better because I didn't get to see her reaction, like I said. And I just would not want to see her face when she found out I was pregnant, because I don't want her to be disappointed in me. And I don't know, it was a lot. So that was my siblings and my mom and dad. And as I said, my grandparents are super religious, and there's actually my grandma who lives quite close to me, about 2 hours away. So I didn't get the chance to tell her right away because I wanted to tell her in person. So I had to wait till the next time we saw each other, which was, I want to say, around when I was 4 months pregnant. When I told everybody, I was probably like, I want to say 6 weeks pregnant. So I waited quite a long time to tell my grandma, just because I didn't have the opportunity to see her, and I didn't want to text her or call her on the phone. And my grandma is the most religious person I have ever met, besides my dad. Like, yes, my dad's a pastor, but my grandma is the one, my dad's mom, who's the one who put that into him, and she's the one who kind of like manifested that gift onto him. So if anyone is more religious than my dad, it is my grandma. She has been I've never known her to be anything else but as like the religious woman that she is today. So she is the one that I was freaked out about as well. Sorry, my phone cut out, but my grandma was the next person that I was really freaking out about, because I did not know what her reaction was going to be. And my grandma, she is also extremely blunt. She does not hold anything back, and she's my grandma. And I'm already a little scared of my grandma just because she is so intimidating. But besides the point, we were sitting down having a family breakfast, and my dad kept on hinting at me. And my dad knew that if it was up to me, I would probably never tell her like face to face. I was freaked out, and my dad just kept telling me, he's like, Mia, do you want to tell your grandma something? And he wasn't saying it in a way where I was like pressured. I was like, yeah, hold on, Dad. And I was like, I'll tell her in a second. She was like, tell me what? And she was completely clueless about the situation. I was like, I don't know. And my dad was like, okay, we'll wait a little bit longer. And then I was like eating. I was like, okay, let me eat before I get sick. And I was just eating. And I was thinking, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready now. So I was like, Grandma, I was like, I am pregnant. And she was like, you are? I was like, yes. She was like, what, how far along? And I told her how many months. And at this time I knew it was a girl, so I told her it was a girl. And she was like, you know, I got pregnant around the same age as you. And at that point, I started crying. I was like, oh my goodness, this woman that I look up to so much, and the woman that is so religious in the way that she is today, she was also in the same state that I was. She told me she was pregnant at 18, and that part shocked me a lot. And she just told me that it's going to be okay, it's going to be hard, but you know what you have to do for your kid, and you'll always do what's best for your kid, and you always try to fight for like the best lifestyle for your kid. And so pretty much she just told me that it's going to be hard, but you're going to find a way to do everything that you need to do for your kid. So that helped me so much. Once again, she said exactly what like I could ever imagine her to say. She didn't make me feel bad about it. She didn't make me feel less a person. She comforted me, and she made me feel good. And pretty much I could not have asked for a better reaction from all my family. It was really, really heartwarming, although like it was exactly what I needed to hear, and some of it like hurt, but it was the truth, and it was exactly what I wanted to hear. So yes, that is how I told my family that I was pregnant at 18, my rather religious family. And I just want to say, like, I know a lot of people aren't as fortunate to be in the situation that I am when it comes to being pregnant as a teen, and I know that I'm not as, like, a lot of people aren't as fortunate to get that reaction, and I know that it's hard, and I feel bad, but this is why I want to make these videos for people who may not have, oh my gosh, I'm about to cry. But I want to make these videos for people who might not have that support system like I have. I want to be that support system for people, and for teens, or just new moms in general, or moms in general. So I hope that this video has helped you. And if you're thinking about telling your parents that you're pregnant, maybe you're 30, maybe you're 20, maybe you're 15. I don't know. If you think about telling your parents that you're pregnant, I say do it. I know it's scary. I know it's nerve-wracking. I know it could be like, feel like the world is ending, but I know you can do it. Just like I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys again in the next one. Bye.